Hello, sisters, and welcome. My name is Catalina Rivera Dois. I'm a Feminine Mysteries mentor, and I hold the space here at the Fascinating Feminine Flow. And today I want to address a question I received from a sister, and I decided to do a video because it's a question I receive with some regularity. Okay, and I want to start weaving into the page in our community a little more for our sisters that are in their queen or wise woman crone phase. Okay, so as you probably know, as women, as modern day women, we have 4 seasons to our life, just as there are 4 seasons to the year. There is the maiden, the mother, the queen, which is the new archetype that's been arising in our collective awareness, and then the wise woman crone. Okay, so when we cross from mother to queen, the threshold that initiates us is what we call in modern day times menopause. And it's a long period of time where there are all kinds of energetic and physical changes that prepare us for this new stage. Now, if you haven't listened to my previous video, please do. Here in that video, I share the myth around our menopause and what actually happens to a red river when we're crossing this stage. It's really important for you to hear that. So if you haven't listened to it, please go back, listen to it, and then come back to this, because this is going to be all about the practicalities. So as you probably know, I cannot speak to this from personal experience. And one of the reasons why I haven't spoken before to it, because I felt I couldn't, because I haven't been there. And I like to speak to things from places, from personal experience, and places where I feel really firm ground beneath my feet. But I realize, Mother's been nudging me that, there's a lot of inquiry, and there are women that are ready to step in. And I may not have the personal experience, but I have the remembrances, and I have Mother's whispers in my ear telling me, at least guiding me to where the explorations might begin. So that's what I want to share with you, what I've received. And I'm sharing this with you in the hopes that you will take it and employ it and come back to feed this knowledge that's emerging. Because again, I can't do it. So I'm calling to you sisters that are in their queen stage to step up and start with me creating the new myths and the new sacred technologies that will allow us to tap into our red river that has gone underground, not disappeared or dried up. Okay, so for the practicalities, because this was the exact question I got, like, I've been working with my moon blood, but now my moon blood is gone. Like, how do I do it? How do I know I can use wine, but how do I do it? So for those of you that haven't heard about this before, I'm going to start from the beginning. So if you've been working previously with your moon blood, with any of the blood mysteries, once you cross the menopause threshold, or when you're in that period of, transitioning, if you want to perform, you're called to perform any of the other rituals, you can certainly do so with wine. And this has been used, wine has been used to symbolize blood for a very, very long time. Okay, so there's a rich connection between wine and our blood. So all you would do would be take wine instead of blood, bless it, and connect to the frequency of your moon blood. So there is, many ways to do this. I want to give you the bare essentials so that you can work into it how it feels, appropriate and aligned for you. This is a very personal practice. But the most important thing is to bless the wine in some way and to connect into your heart and womb, to really connect into the frequency of moon blood, of Mother's red thread and red river, so that the wine may be imbued with those qualities and become that nexus between these two energetics. Okay, so once you've blessed and infused your wine, transformed it into blood, because that's what we're doing, transforming not water into wine, but wine into blood. You can use it in any of the rituals in however way you've usually used it. Okay, and if you're curious about going deeper into that, the blood mystery are open to you, there is going to be a new circle deepening into this starting December 21st or 22nd. So just reach out, because again, it's not only for women that are bleeding. Anybody can access this with wine. So if you're curious about learning more how to work with the blood mysteries, this is also open to my queenly sisters. And you would just substitute blood for wine. Now, the other question I received was, well, how do I work with it around the moon? Like, how do I know when? Right? Because when we're working with our moon blood during the blood mysteries, we're deeply connected to a cycle, and it arrives at a certain time, and we know that's when our cycle begins. When you're in menopause and or in that transition phase, and you don't know where the beginning of the phase starts, like how do you work with it? Okay, and these are the answers I've received so far. The easiest way to start is to align yourself with the moon. Okay, so our moon time aligns energetically with the new moon in terms of the frequencies. As I've said before, you don't have to bleed on the new moon. There's more than that, but if you're not bleeding, if you're in menopause, an easy and quick way to start is to just do your moon time rituals with the new moon and follow the moon cycle as if it were your own. Okay, so that's the easy answer to start off. Now, the reality is, or what I have found with talking with women that are in that stage, is that just like our moon cycle doesn't necessarily follow our moon time doesn't necessarily follow the lunar cycle, a woman's body continues to cycle even after menopause hits. Even after your river goes underground, there is still a cycling that happens within the body. It is much more subtle, though, so it's harder to pick up. So that's where working with the moon to begin with is kind of like the easiest answer. But eventually, what you want to do is to become so deeply connected with your body that you start to feel the cycle as it moves through you and your body. You may notice that there are times when you feel almost like you were going to have a period even though you don't, right? There are times maybe your breast will feel sensitive, or your emotions will be similar to a specific phase of your cycle. And again, that cycle may be longer, it may be shorter, and the only way of truly working that is to listen deeply into your body and journal and start noting the dates so that you can find your own pattern. Okay, and that's the truest answer. And knowing your pattern, knowing where you are in your cycle, you will know when it is time, when it is the equivalent of your body's moon time, and you can step into that. But that's hard. That's not going to be easy, and that's why that's why there's also this 10-year period where you prepare for menopause, because there needs to be a really deep listening to really step into that. So my answer, sister, for how to work with the blood mysteries after you've crossed that threshold is to follow your intuition, start to deeply listen into your body. See if you can start feeling into those cycles. Remember what each cycle felt like, and where you're at, what that feels like, and note it. And in so doing, then you can eventually come to that place where you will know exactly when the right time is to do your blood mystery rituals. So there's that aspect. But then again, at the same time, simultaneously, the wise woman carries her wise blood within her. So you can always access it. So ultimately, your intuition will guide you, okay? Because you can use it at any point, okay? And finally, for those of you that are just starting, another way to use this is that if you're at that point where if you're relatively new to this and you're trying to forge a deeper connection into the cycles, start with the moon. Start with that, because honoring your cycle with the moon will deeply connect you with her, which is part of your feminine cycle, will connect you to nature, and ultimately will be a gateway into your own body as well. There's a lot to win from doing that. Just be aware that your body has a cycle of its own as well, so that if your feelings don't coincide necessarily with what you should be feeling because of the moon, or then know that there's nothing wrong with you. Know that what you're feeling into is just your personal cycle. Okay? So I hope this is helpful, sisters. I would love to hear from those of you that have crossed this threshold and are deeply immersed in this phase magic. Just feel to hear what is true for you, and please share, because this is how we help each other, and this is how we build, again, the collective new wisdom that is wanting to come through. So even if what you feel you've tapped into is just a grain of sand, that will help another sister. So please share your experience, share how you're working with your moon, but what's been working. Your wine, but how you feel the cycles, how your body feels, how it's transitioning. Please open up the conversation in the comments below, that we may really remember together what it is to work with the Red River in this phase of life. So all my love, many blessings, and really looking forward to the conversation that this sparks. Lots of love.